Hello and welcome to Just One More Watch. It's AliExpress sale time again. Though to be honest, there's pretty much always a sale on at AliExpress. I'm not going to make a dedicated top 10 sale video on this occasion. I'll be back in November for the really big sale for that. But I will leave links to half a dozen watches in the description of this video. A lot of stuff that I've bought in but I just don't have time for review. Stuff that I think you should be having a look at if you're keen to pick up something at this particular sale, including the watch on my wrist. It's something a little bit different from Pagani today. Well, not that different. It's still a watch that looks a lot like another watch, but it's not just another diver. This one I would describe as a dressy style pilot with more than a whiff of IWC about it. Now you saw the pop-up. This watch was sent to me for free by the Pagani Design official store on AliExpress. That's the link I'll leave in the description of the video. They've also given me a discount code, taking the price down to about $73, and they'll send you a free gift, a NATO strap or a bracelet or something else, I have been told, if you mention that you watched this video. All links and instructions in the description of the video. So the deal is sweet, but is the watch? Let's flip the camera and find out. Alright, so I'm going to try and not take forever with this one today. It's a fairly straightforward watch at its core. If you have bought a Pagani before, this packaging will look familiar. Pagani Design branded box of some kind and a Pagani Design polishing cloth. I love these little things. I must have reviewed about 15 Paganis. My house is full of these little blue cloths. Instruction manual, warranty card down the side, hang tag at the back, and the watch in the middle. I am, however, going to do a bit of a strap fashion show with this one today. I think it's a really neutral design, well-sized watch with 20mm lug width. It's going to be a strap monster. The strap supplied is okay and I like the hardware, but not everybody is going to be into patent faux croc leather. So a few alternatives, I will show you those, included in the wrist shots a bit later on. But first, whose catalogue have Pagani Design been photocopying today? Well, I did mention it in the intro. This one is pretty much an IWC Portugueser style anyway. They don't quite do a three-hand IWC version of this watch. They do a chrono, they do a small second and so on. So this one is a little bit different, but not that different. Certainly that's where it gets its stylish cues from today. It gets its dimensions from the IWC as well. So 41mm in diameter, 12.7mm thick with a 49mm lug to lug, 20mm lug width as mentioned, which I think is a great decision to go with 20 rather than 22. And this one on the supplied patent blue leather strap, as noted, weighs in at 76 grams. So it's a three-piece stainless steel case, stainless steel mid case, fixed high polished stainless steel bezel, and a screw-on stainless steel case back. 200 meters of water resistance, this one, 200 meters, and a screw-down crown. Perhaps slightly unnecessary, but hey, I can't really complain with a spec that gives you more rather than gives you less. It does have domed sapphire crystal. Now, double domed, but you can see a bit of distortion there. I'll show you that when I take it outside. I reckon it's that kind of convex dome, more domed on one side than the other, if you see what I mean. Case finish is very simple, but there are what I think are a couple of nice touches here and there. Fine horizontal brush to the mid case, high polish on the lug surfaces, there's no transitions, no chamfers, etc. There is, however, a bevel to the bezel, if you see what I mean. It's a fixed bezel, but it does dip in slightly. You can see it there and you can feel it as well. There's a little chamfer leading to that sapphire crystal as well. Pagani Design branded crown. It's a screw down crown, but there is a recess here to get your finger underneath it. I guess that would be more useful if it was a push-pull crown, but it's still nice to see a little bit of extra thought, a bit of attention to detail gone in there as well. And I can't really fault the strap for quality. You don't often get great straps on watches for less than $75, but this one is alright. Reasonably well finished, nice stitching, it's quick release, and it is Pagani Design branded there as well. It's got a kind of stamp there, and the hardware is excellent. I'll throw in a little bit of macro of this buckle and tang here as well, nicely angular and etched with the Pagani Design logo there too. Screw-on stainless steel case back, helping with that 200 meters of water resistance, as advertised there as well, the usual spec sheet. And that is the official model number. It's a PD-YS003. There is a kind of seascape and compass there. Yeah, okay. Not sure why, but hey, again, Good to see a little bit of attention being lavished on the back of the watch as well as the front. And good to see yet another rock solid set of numbers from yet another Seiko NH35. These things are a bit of a modern marvel. I normally find they head towards the +10, so this one is very much in keeping. Healthy amplitude, 0 beat error. Now 24 jewel hacking and hand winding auto running at 21,600 vibrations per hour, roughly 40 hour power reserve. I hear NH35s are becoming a little bit hard to find. A lot of these Chinese manufacturers are moving towards Citizen Miyota 8215s, interchangeably with the NH35. Nothing wrong with the Miyota, but I'd rather have the Seiko, and I'm sure most of you would rather have the Seiko as well. So let's have a quick look at this one outside through the macro lens. It's a really nice clean design thanks to IWC. I guess this would be an enamel dial if you were paying big bucks, but with Pagani it's a white dial that actually looks quite a lot like an enamel dial but doesn't have the same level of sheen. So Pagani design logo printed beneath the Arabic at 12, and PT time. They seem to be labeling, kind of double branding their non-dive watches as PT time. I wonder if they're transitioning away from Pagani. Automatic 20 bar / 200 meters of water resistance above a nicely integrated beveled edge date frame at 6 o'clock. Like I said, a number of nice touches on this one that I haven't seen elsewhere from Pagani. Now the handset on this, we've got leaf hands. I really like the proportions as well. The hour hand just touches that inner ring of Arabics, and the minute hand pushes all the way out to that double train track. It's a really slim needle second hand as well. So if I show you some sideways macro here, you can see that the Arabics are applied and they're also in blue. So 1 to 12 all the way around with little applied kind of oblong rectangular markers at the 5s on top of that printed double train track. The last little bit of printing, Japan movement sitting either side of the Arabic at 6 o'clock. Overall, really nice, clean, uncluttered. Thank you, IWC. And on wrist it looks good. I've got a 7-inch wrist for your reference, slightly larger than average at 41 and with 49mm lug to lug, which is why I think 20mm lug width was a good idea. That tends to bring it down and broaden the appeal, broaden the different number of wrist sizes that it can fit, rather than a 22, which tends to mean big wrists only. I wouldn't necessarily recommend it to you if you have 6-inch wrists or downwards. I just don't think it's going to work well, but half decent strap, and I do like the hardware. Yeah, patent leather, not really my thing, shiny, so let's get on with that fashion show. If you want to stick with blue but want to take the shininess down a notch, something like this I think would be ideal. I do like the white stitching, picking out the white of the dial quite clearly. I like playing around with colours and tend to put brown straps on pretty much anything, but I think the brown again offsets that white and picks out the blue also. But with 200 meters of water resistance, you can put it on one of these colourful, playful blue Perlons, and you can genuinely get this one wet into the bargain as a bonus. Same applies on the mesh strap. These really are super versatile, and you don't have to spend a fortune on one either to completely change the way the watch looks. And back on the original shiny strap for the overhead shot. Fairly legible. I don't think there's any anti-reflective undercoating on that sapphire crystal, to be honest, but it is a larger than average watch at 41, and it's all dial, minimal bezel on this one, and a nicely proportioned handset. And when I take it outside, you can see how the light interacts with the blue leaf hands and also those blue Arabics and the little markers at the 5s, which do kind of pop occasionally depending on the angle. Also depending on the angle, you can see that distortion from that slightly unusual sapphire crystal. Some people are into that. I'm perhaps not as into it as I would be if it was just a piece of flat crystal on this one. That's it on wrist. As discussed, I don't think there's any anti-reflective here, but I'm not complaining because it's not a dive style watch today. And again, you can see that distortion. Looking down the wrist, 49mm lug to lug, perfectly wearable on me. But there are always moans and niggles, aren't there? So what are mine with this Pagani design today? Well, no originality. I'm guessing if you're still here at this stage of the video, you're okay with that. I reckon they could have cleaned this one up further still. Perhaps that's just a bit too much text. It doesn't quite look spaced properly. I feel the crown is slightly too small. And do we really need 200 meters of water resistance? Perhaps 100 meters and a push-pull crown would have been sufficient, especially if it had knocked another $5 off the price. I'm all for specs if they're appropriate, but I think they're maybe a little bit excessive for a watch in this style. And then there's the strap. It is a bit hit or miss. There's a few different colours of this one. There's a black one as well as the white with blue. So you do have options there. But yeah, I reckon this shiny patent blue is going to be a bit of a polarizer. My final complaint, I do like the hardware on this buckle, but if you look at the underneath, yeah, it's a little bit rough in places. So better finished on the top than it is from the bottom. But you just can't knock Pagani design for the sheer value for money they offer. I like this one. I think it brings something a bit different to their range, and perhaps it could bring something a bit different to your collection as well. If it's full of dive style homages on a bracelet, this certainly is not that, even though it's just as capable of getting just as wet as all of those dive style watches are. So there you have it. If you're into the value but not the originality offered by Pagani design, why not check out two of my favourites, the No Time to Pagani and the Fluted Bezel Pagani. Thanks for watching. I'll see you soon.